Hello, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Leticia, and I am a bodybuilder, and I have a big fat secret. I've been lying to a lot of you for a long time. So, buckle up because we got some things to go over today, and I am very excited to be here with you. If you are just now seeing this video, I cannot tell you where I am, but just know right now, in this very moment, today is January 14th. I don't know if you can even see that. Today is January 14th. I'm officially 20 weeks out. And that's so crazy to say. If anything, you'll probably see a different video that I made before this video going over a lot of thyroid issues that I was facing, a lot of hormone issues, life stressors, things just kind of getting in the way. And at one point in time, I didn't know if I was ever going to step on stage again. And I made this whole video that was super dramatic. It, I don't know, I felt like I was being dramatic in the video, but it was more so coming from a place of just not really knowing what the future held. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Being unsure of what the future holds is scary and uncomfortable. But the difference was I knew coming into 2024, no, 2024, coming into 2025, I knew that I had a choice to make. And that choice was either going to be to sit in the discomfort and cry about it and never be happy again, or I had the choice to sit in the discomfort, make the best of it, and do everything in my power to make sure that my mental health and physical health were as protected as possible. And I chose the second option. So while on one hand, going into 2025, I didn't know if I was ever going to step on stage again. I knew that I had a lot of life things that I needed to get in order and priorities outside of bodybuilding that needed my attention. Um, Biggest thing, I've probably mentioned this like a million times already, but you guys, I got married in 2025. So there's that. But that was going to take up most of my time. It was going to take up most of my effort and my attention. So going into that year, I knew that bodybuilding was already taking a back seat. And what I mean when I say bodybuilding is taking a back seat is my mind wasn't on the stage. My mind wasn't on my cut or my bulk or any of the tangible things that bodybuilding brings. Nothing changed in my lifestyle. I still showed up and trained every day that I needed to train. I still did all of my cardio. I still stuck to my meal plan. I still hit my macros. I still got my sleep. I still focused on my recovery. None of that changed because the bodybuilding lifestyle is already ingrained in who I am and in my lifestyle, where it just feels like second nature. Bodybuilding itself doesn't take any extra effort in my life because I have spent so many years building those habits. So, all of that to say, 2025 was a year for me to just live life and focus on life and not focus on the stage or focus on the next step in my bodybuilding career, which hasn't even started. When you really think about it, I stepped on stage once in 2023, did a summer shredding show, wasn't an NPC show. I didn't do any shows after that. I had a hard time coming out of that prep because I felt like all of the work that I had done going into that prep, in a way, it felt like it was all for nothing. I know it wasn't. I got the experience. I got to step on stage. I got to do all the things. I lived the bodybuilder life. It wasn't all for nothing, but at the same time, I felt like my prep didn't manifest the way that I had envisioned it. I came out of that prep and felt like there was unfinished business. So, all of that combined with just your hormones that are re regulating after coming out of a prep scenario, all of that with the body changes, like the physical body changes, with the mental changes that come along with that, all of those things compounded into my entire year of 2024. I felt like I had lost myself. I felt like I didn't know who I was. I didn't recognize myself. I wasn't showing up the way that I thought I needed to show up. But all of the problems that I was facing was the fact that I was trying to do too much, too fast, too hard. I was trying to overcorrect an issue that actually needed me to take a step back. So I got really freaking uncomfortable in 2024. The first half of 2024 was me trying to push as hard as possible, for as long as possible, do as much as possible. The second half of 2024 was me taking a step back and saying, oh, actually, my body is begging for a break. My body is begging to regulate. I'm trying to do too much all at once, and I need to chill the heck out. So 2025 was about having fun, right? Made it through 2025. Best physique of my life. We successfully cut for the first time ever. The reason that I say successfully is because even through my prep, I had a lot of hardship. I had a lot of resistance. We were like fighting tooth and nail to get me lean. And it makes sense. It was my first prep with my first coach. I'm still with the same coach, but all of that first prep was data. All of that first prep was a learning curve because we needed to know how my body was going to respond, how things were going to pan out and play out. We didn't have the data. So my cut in 2025 was my first successful cut because we knew what to expect. We knew how my body was going to respond. We had better methods and better communication. Just overall, the entire experience of my cut in 2025 was chef's kiss A1. My blood work was still a little bit out of range. Things like specifically like my thyroid has been downregulated for some time. I finally got a second opinion, and we realized that I've been dealing with some subclinical hypothyroidism for some time. And it was just never really caught because my thyroid levels were technically in range. But in range does not necessarily mean optimal. And when you're not in optimal range, your body is not going to work the way that it should. So things like weight loss was very difficult for me for a long time. Things like I constantly had brain fog. I was having midday crashes. I was dealing with, anxiety and depression and digestion issues and low libido and all of these things that I thought just meant that I wasn't doing enough, right? But in 2025, I had a wonderful life experience. I lived life. I was in the moment. I was present. Like I said, I got married. Oh, hello. We have a friend. We launched our coaching business officially. I hit my 1 year of online coaching in 2025, but at the end of 2025 is when we officially launched our business, me and my husband. So we're officially business partners, life partners, and he can never get rid of me. Oopsies. Manifest, manifest. Just keep manifesting because I did that. But anyways, all of that to say, guys, we're in freaking prep. I haven't told anybody, with the exception of a small handful of people. And the only reason that those people knew that I was in prep was because it kind of slipped up. My husband had one of his friends over not too long ago, and I said something. We were having a conversation. I don't know what was said, but I said something about wanting some food or something. My husband whips his head around, looks at me, and said, well, you can't have it because you're in prep. Sir, your friend didn't know. But also, it matters because his friend is, well, our friend is a bodybuilder. So, yeah. So then he went home, told his girlfriend, who then asked me about it. And then we all went on a trip together. And then it came up, and then some of our other friends overheard it. So, all of this to say, I wasn't really planning on telling anybody that I was in prep yet. And I think it was just because I wanted to have something for myself. My first prep, I shared a lot of things, and I don't regret sharing as much as I did. But at the same time, I think that I spent a lot of my effort and a lot of my energy externally. Whereas I think this time around, I just want to kind of sit in my feelings and sit in this moment for myself and just really soak it up. Because by the end of the prep that I had gone through in 2023, I felt like I had just given so much of myself and I wasn't really being present in the moment. And I wasn't really soaking up the little moments, the little feelings. And so this time around, I plan to kind of just keep it under wraps, keep it a little bit low key. Like I said, if you're seeing this, this means I've already told people. I plan to post these later. I think as I'm getting closer to show, um, me and my husband were kind of having a conversation, and it's just kind of a little bit silly, but he was like, "Are you just going to keep the secret until like you can't keep it anymore? Like until people start to notice because you're going to get really freaking lean, dude." So, that I think that's kind of the plan is we're just keeping it under wraps, keeping it to myself until I'm a lot closer. But I think another really big thing for me is I don't I don't really like questions. I love that people in my life want to be involved. I love that everybody wants to check in on me and ask me how I'm doing, but the reality is, at some points, prep is going to suck. And I don't want to have to fabricate my answers to reflect a truth that is not true, if that makes sense. I personally don't mind saying prep sucks sometimes. I don't mind saying I'm tired. I don't mind saying, like, I'm hungry or whatever it is. But I think there are some people in my life who are just like me. They're fix it people. They're like, okay, well, how can I fix it? How can we get through this? How can we make it better? But one of my favorite parts of prep is leaning into the suck. Sometimes, sometimes I want it to suck. Is that weird? I think, I don't think it's weird, but the sucky parts are sometimes the most fun, you know? I think that, I don't know. I guess in that sense, like, I don't really want to answer a bunch of questions right now, especially because I get a lot of surface level questions when it comes to prep. Like, well, how are you feeling today? Are you hungry? What are you craving? And I'm not a really big small talk person. I would rather talk with somebody else about their life and what's going on in their life. And I think it's also because nothing really changes. Sorry, she's all over the place. Nothing really changes for me when I'm in prep. The only difference is cardio gets a little bit longer and food gets a little bit lower. But nothing else in my day to day changes. Everything else stays the same. There's nothing really exciting about prep, and I think that's my favorite part is the monotony. So I just don't really like talking about prep, with like in a day to day situation. When I'm in the mood to talk about it, clearly right now, sitting down with my cat, talking to a camera, it's a little bit different because I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit different when I'm in a live conversation with somebody and I want to know everything that's going on in their life. I want to know the exciting things, the new things, because I don't got very much new or exciting going on in my life. So I don't want to talk about me. But yeah, so we're 20 weeks out ish. My coach and I decided not to have like a hard timeline or anything crazy. We're just going for it. And we're hoping to make our national appearance this year. It's been so long since I've stepped on stage. It's been so long since I've been really, really freaking lean. I know that I said I had my most successful cut in 2025, but even that, I am just as lean now, right now, in this very moment, that I was during that cut that I did. That cut was specifically for my wedding, and I had told my coach specifically that I don't want to be diced or shredded. I just want to be my most confident, and I want a really nice freaking physique. I specifically said I don't need to be diced. I just want to be able to still look lean and full, and I don't want to be depleted. And that was it. So the level of leanness that I had achieved in 2025 is the level of leanness that I'm sitting at right now in this very moment at 20 weeks out. So it's going to be really freaking cool to see the work that we've actually done in these last 2 years, because I promise it's been a long road. It's been a long freaking road. It takes a lot to be able to continue to stay locked in and to continue to show up even when you don't have a timeline in mind. But I think one of the biggest things that has helped me is the fact that I have a bomb ass coach who keeps my head on straight. And no matter what phase we have been in, he has been like, he's been the rock in a way where it doesn't matter what timeline we're on, it doesn't matter what phase we're in. He's showing up every single week to our check ins, and he was like, cool, this is the game plan. This is where we stay locked in. These are your non negotiables, and we're just going to keep going for it. And I never once felt like not having a timeline was, for lack of better words, wasting his time. Not that I ever feel like I would be wasting a coach's time, any coach for that matter, but I don't ever feel like I would be wasting my coach's time. But it's a little bit weird being in a situation where you have no timeline, but you have to continue to show up. And when I say have to, I choose to continue to show up. I knew I had no timeline. But it's nice to have a coach who holds me to the standard that I hold myself to, because even in the times where I had no timeline, I was still doing what I needed to do. I had a very short period of time where I took a step back and enjoyed life, and that was literally right at my wedding time. That was when I allowed myself to take a step back and not worry about checking my boxes and just live life for a little bit. I had some drinks. I wasn't worried about every single little thing that I was eating. I enjoyed food, I enjoyed life, and that was enough for me. But everything outside of wedding season, I have been incredibly locked in, and I'm very proud of that. And that's not something that anybody will take away from me, because I've shown up when I had no timeline. I've shown up when I couldn't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the fact that I have a coach who is willing to stick with me through that and not just say, well, you don't have a timeline, so it's not that big of a deal, or, give yourself some grace. It's okay to relax a little bit. He's not doing that. I decided that I wanted to continue to show up because I know that it matters. And so the fact that he continues to hold me to that standard is exactly what I needed. It's, like I said, that rock, or like that grounding that I needed, that any other time outside of that I started to slip or I started to fall short, he was like, hello, we got work to do. And that's what I want. Like, that's what I hired a coach for, to hold me accountable when things get weird. So, yeah, all of that to say, I'm freaking excited. We're aiming for 20 weeks. We don't know what's going to happen between now and then. I'm not stuck to a timeline. It would be nice if we can stick to a similar timeline, because there's a show right around that time in my area, which will tell us exactly what we need to know, how I line up on a regional level. I've never stepped on an NPC stage. This is going to be my NPC debut. So that's going to be really exciting. And I think that this prep is going to mean a lot to me. It's not about the titles. It's not about the accolades. It's not about anything. It's not about the trophies. It's not about the medals. It's not about anything other than the fact that I did that. I showed up. I continued to show up. And I'm going to continue to show up. And it's just going to represent all of the work that I've done over these last couple of years. And that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to. But yeah. Y'all, I think that's all I got for you. So we're going to wrap this up. I don't know when you're going to see this. You'll see it eventually. I don't know when it's going to be, but we're going to wrap it up here. So here's to 5 weeks into prep, 20 weeks-ish to go, and a whole lot of life that's going to be lived between now and then. So thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've ever done a secret prep, because I'm really excited and I got nobody to talk about this with. But yeah, anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day. I just want you all to know that you can do anything you literally put your mind to. Anything you want to do, go freaking do it. Bye.